Leistikow's 4 thoughts. Late game lineup sends message to Iowa women's basketball veterans. Iowa SIT. The lineup that was on the floor and who was on the bench at the end of Iowa women's basketball's 74-67 home loss Sunday afternoon in Indiana spoke volumes. For almost all of the game's final 7 minutes, 55 seconds, head coach Jan Jensen went with freshman Alia Guyton at the 1, junior Taylor McCabe at the 2, freshman Taylor Stremlow at the 3, junior Hannah Stulk at the 4, and freshman Ava Hayden at the 5. 4 bench players and a starter, Stulk. The playing time for Iowa's other 4 starters in the final 7:55? Sydney Affolter, 144, Addie O'Grady, 114, Lucy Olson, 30, Kalai Feuerbach, 0-0. That says it all for Jensen's team, which is getting the fight it needs from its young players that it hasn't been getting from its veterans. And amid the program's first 3-game losing streak since 2018, Jensen is clearly searching for answers. Those young kids, they're bringing it. That's the thing that really is promising, Jensen said after her team fell to 12-4 overall, 2-4 in Big Ten conference play. I feel badly for our upperclassmen. I think they're pressing. The 5 players on the floor at the end of the game gave Iowa a chance. McCabe scored a team-high 15 points and played 35-31 of the game's 40 minutes, and she deserved every second. McCabe hadn't played more than 29-21 in any of the 67 previous games of her college career. And if McCabe was Iowa's best player on Sunday, Stremlow and Hayden, who played only 145 in Thursday's loss at Illinois, were not far behind. I think Jensen just looked around for a spark or for anything in timeouts, McCabe said. We were yelling at each other with 4 minutes left. This game is not over. At that point, we were down 10, but it was not over. We were just trying to find that fight in people, and that's why she went with that lineup. On any given night, it could be any 5 out of this team. That's the accurate answer, the diplomatic answer, to what's going on with Iowa's older players. Maybe the most jarring benching in the 4th quarter was Olson, the highly acclaimed transfer from Villanova. She finished with 8 points on 3 for 12 shooting and had a -16 rating, tied with Feuerbach for the team worst Sunday. Jensen said her older players want to play so well that they're playing tight. While Stulk was on the floor with that group late, she had a tough game too. 5 points, 3 rebounds, 1 for 6 shooting. What's happening is we're starting games very tight, Jensen said. Unfortunately, it's been a lot of our veterans that have made some tough passes, that have made some tough decisions, and it's putting us in a little bit of a hole. Indiana never trailed, bolting to a 6-0 lead in the first 150. The margin got to 15 points, at 34-19 in the second quarter. Iowa tried to claw back but couldn't buy a bucket, shooting 33.9% from the floor. There's understandable angst right now surrounding the program's slide after reaching such magnificent heights in the Caitlin Clark era. For the last 3 years especially, the Hawkeys have almost always had the answer, and she wore no, 22. Now they don't. Indiana had all the answers Sunday, usually with a big 3-pointer after Iowa chipped away. We're good at fighting back, especially these recent losses, Stremlow said. Then we let it go a little bit. There were a couple things that happened as Iowa tried to stage a 4th quarter rally. McCabe's 3 off a steal with 1:56 left cut it to 66-62 that Jensen can build on. 1, she settled into a lineup that built some chemistry. 2, she used the full court press a little more. Iowa outscored Indiana in points off turnovers, 24-9. If Jensen is going to constantly shuffle 9 or 10 players, why not press more often? That is something assistant coach Raina Harmon has been pushing for. It's something to think about going forward. Big picture, what to think. Though a first-year head coach, Jensen has been a top assistant for 30-plus years. She's seen a lot of highs and lows. And, for what it's worth, she thinks the good times are closer for this team than most people on the outside believe. Young teams, I've been there. We just haven't All of us in this media room haven't been there for about 4 or 5 years, Jensen said. So, I stay steady by remembering when you have a lot of youth, it's a roller coaster. I know what's coming, and I see the camaraderie, and I see their fight.